Hello, and welcome to Beyond Biglaw, Money Management for Lawyers, where lawyer turned accredited financial counselor, Jessica Medina, provides expert tips to help attorneys better manage their money so they can pursue their dream lives.
Hello and welcome. The topic is personal finances, specifically for lawyers in Biglaw. Jessica Medina joins the conversation. She is a former lawyer turned accredited financial counselor, helping lawyers figure out their finances so they can pursue their true passions. Nice to see you again, Jessica.
Hi, Nancy.
Share with us a bit more about your story, your business, and how specifically you help clients.
The long story short, because after now 20 years of having practiced law and now becoming an accredited financial counselor, there's a lot in there. But some of the big highlights, I wanted to be a lawyer ever since high school. It was this combination of intellectual rigor and drama that I thought would be such a great fit for my personality and my interests. And so I went to college knowing that I wanted to go to law school, and I kind of fashioned my college experience around that. I ended up at Columbia Law School in New York. I was so excited and proud to be there. I specifically remember the look on my college advisor's face when I told him that I got into Columbia. He was pretty impressed, and I decided right then and there, well, that's obviously where I'm going. Paid through the nose for it, let me tell you. Did not get any scholarships. I was probably a mediocre candidate for a school like Columbia, but I did get in, and I did decide to go, and I did decide to take out all the monies in order to make sure that I could graduate. Now, along the line, while I was in law school, I ended up having twins. And so I became a single mom of twins when I was a 2L. So in my second year of law school, and it really was a defining moment of my entire life, as you can probably imagine. I was now leading a small family and also trying to finish up getting my law degree and trying to figure out how I was going to manage everything when I graduated. So even though I had gone to law school with the idea that I would go into government and become a public servant and be working for the people, with my $200,000 of student loans and my two twins, that wasn't really going to work. We didn't have the same types of student loan repayment programs back then. And honestly, I wouldn't even have known where to start. So I went to the best firm in DC that hired me, and props to them for taking on a new mom with little twins to become a new associate. But that's really where I started my legal career. And even though I hadn't planned on going to a law firm, I really did get wonderful experiences there. I learned a lot about the practice of law, about having extremely high expectations of yourself and of your work product. I also was working with some of the smartest people that I've ever met in my life. And so I think for that, I will always be thankful for my big law experience. That being said, it wasn't what I wanted for my eventual life. And so I had always been looking for something a little bit more fulfilling, but I was just terrified of taking a pay cut and going anywhere else, given the fact that I was living in Washington, D.C., which has New York prices without the New York skyline, and also, raising a family on my own and trying to deal with all of my student loan debt. So it took me 8 years. What I had imagined might just be a couple of years of big law experience really turned into a large portion of my legal career. And it was really the trajectory of my own children's lives that really forced me to make a decision about whether I was going to go up for partner and stay at the firm pretty much for their entire childhood, or I was going to make the transition, try to move into public service, take a bit of a pay cut, but hopefully get some more work-life balance in exchange. And that's what I did. I always tell people you need to make your own decisions about what's right for you in your life, and what's right for you at a certain point might not be right for you at a different point. So it really is a dynamic decision that you have to keep revisiting along the different paths of your career. And so at the time where I had to choose between going up for partner or leaving the firm to go to the government, I chose the government. I think to myself, I chose my family. I chose being able to spend some time with my kids before they went into high school. I never wanted to spend time with me again. So that was an important pivot for me. I took a 50% pay cut to go to the government, which was quite a shock to my family and, our personal living situation. But I also started to cut my teeth on how to better manage my own money and how to be a little bit more thoughtful and intentional when it came to my own personal finances. Being at the SEC, right, I was literally working at the Securities and Exchange Commission, a financial regulator here in the US, dealing with the nasty underbelly of the financial market. But it also exposed me to how much ignorance there is in the general population about how to deal with money. And it exposed my own ignorance of what I didn't understand about the financial markets, about what I didn't understand about my own financial position. And so it definitely got me interested more in being better with my personal finances. And I can tell you, when I realized I no longer wanted to be at the SEC and I no longer wanted to be a lawyer, then I really needed to get a handle on my money. And it was that journey that really led me to becoming an accredited financial counselor and honestly becoming a personal finance expert for lawyers. It's what I do now, even though I never could have guessed this, 10, 15 years ago. I would have told you, I hate money. I hate thinking about it. It's the last thing that I want to deal with. And now I deal with it all day long. I absolutely love helping people maneuver their own financial journey, especially when it deals with, thinking through these career and life transitions. And so that's how I help my clients. When my clients are faced with a question of, do I need to keep the job for the money or can I take another job for the joy? I want to be there to help them choose joy. When they're thinking about growing their family and they're not sure how they're going to manage everything, I want to be there to help them choose joy. When they're looking for a new house or maybe they want to relocate, internationally or take a sabbatical, I want to be there to help them choose joy. So I'm going to work with them and figure out what is their current financial positioning, what strategies do we need to deploy so they can make those transitions, they can make those changes in their lives, and then what's it going to look like on the other side? How are they going to manage things moving forward? How are they going to make sure that they still get all of the things done that they want to do while still picking something that brings them joy?
Why do you think personal money management is such a trigger for so many people and many of us?
I grew up in a family. I am part Dominican and part Puerto Rican. We have a lot of weird beliefs about money, right? I mean, I was taught that money on the bed goes to sickness. You're not supposed to talk about money. It's rude. I still don't know what my parents make. I mean, these were just like totally uncouth topics to bring up at the dinner table, right? You never ask anyone what they paid for their house or their car or for the bag that they just brought home. It was so secretive and so shrouded in mystery. I think that many of us grow up in homes like that, where everyone is just completely embarrassed, ashamed, or treats money like this very dirty thing. And if that's how you treat it, of course you're going to avoid it. You're going to talk as little as possible about it, but that means that you're going to get exposed to as few opinions about it, as you allow yourself to be. There was a study done in the UK, and I want to say it was way back in 2015, but I imagine it is still relevant that, people would rather talk about their sex lives than their bank accounts. And I find that to be true. Even in today's world where everybody talks about everything, money is still pretty taboo. I think there's just so much judgment around what the right way to handle money is. And if you don't feel like you're doing everything right and that you're in the top 1%, then you're, ashamed to even bring up your situation. So creating these more open spaces where people can be more honest, where they can share, their dirty laundry, if that's what they consider it. I want to be there to bring everything out into the open so they can understand what's going on and they can make better choices moving forward that are in line with what they actually want for their lives.
And when we don't know, we're going to make mistakes. So let's talk about what you call the 5 money mistakes lawyers make.
I see all my lawyers making a lot of money mistakes, and I know about them because I made them myself. These are things that I did. These are absolutely things that I did when I was practicing. And so, I don't bring these to light in order to, beat people down and tell them all the things they're doing wrong. It really is just to shine a light on things that they might want to consider or start paying attention to so they can be in the kind of financial position that allows them the freedom and flexibility to always choose joy. And so what are the 5 money mistakes? I'll run through all of them and then we can take them maybe one at a time and kind of talk through how they actually apply. The first one is that all you have to do is get the degree and the money will take care of itself. That is not true. We want to make sure that you are being intentional with your money and paying attention to where it goes. The second mistake that I see is focusing on paying off your student loans as fast as possible. That's a lot of the guidance that you get from the personal finance world,
Absolutely, that's what we hear.
Right, maybe from your parents or from your friends. People expect that those loans need to be paid off first. Definitely a big mistake that I see my lawyers make. Third is that the golden handcuffs are not limited to the big house and the fancy car. It's all those little things that you spend money on that just make life bearable. And the fourth is making decisions based on convenience rather than research. Attorneys are literally paid to do research, and yet when it comes to our own money decisions, we often will err on the side of convenience, and that's really something that you want to be paying attention to. And lastly, specifically for my Biglaw folks, I see many of them seeing their Biglaw experience as a burden, and I would love for them to see it as an opportunity. It really can be the career shift that opens up so many doors for you, both financially and professionally. And if you can see it that way, it will make the years that you spend there so much easier to handle. And you will see them as the launching pad that created the rest of your life and all the things that you really wanted to get out of it.
Personal and professional goals, as you mentioned, changed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, we're all evolving. So what are some of the first steps that lawyers need to take in order to start their transition planning?
So I always love this question because I think people assume that the first thing I'm going to say is, well, look at all of your numbers. You have to go pull out your budget, start a spreadsheet, start tracking things. And honestly, the first thing that you need to do has nothing to do with numbers at all. It has to do with figuring out what is the vision that you have for the next phase of life for yourself. What does that next phase of life look like on a day-to-day basis? Do you want to live where you're living now? Do you want to have the family of the size that it is now? Do you want to be in the home that you're living in now? Do you want to be working somewhere that allows you a level of flexibility so you can have 4-day weekends or, travel remotely and work from other countries? What is it about your life that might be different than it is now? And I think that's such an important step for folks to take because oftentimes they just want to get out from wherever they are. Especially, I know a lot of unhappy lawyers. I hate to say I probably know more unhappy lawyers than happy lawyers. But as I work with more clients, we're getting there. We're increasing the happiness factor. But for right now, most of the people listening to this podcast probably know an unhappy lawyer in their life. And that's because the job is inherently stressful. There really is a lot that goes along with, having clients. You have potentially their freedom in your hands or, the custody of their children or, a contract gone bad. There's a lot that lawyers deal with that's already very heavy. And so I think it's important for anyone who's thinking of a transition to really dig into what you want that next phase of life to look like, because that is going to be the roadmap to backwards engineer how we get you there. What changes are going to be needed in order to get you to that next phase of life? And what are you maybe going to be able to let go of in that next phase of life such that we don't have to account for it anyway? I have a lot of clients who, when they think about what their dream life looks like, it doesn't include a lot of the spending that they currently send their resources to. And so having that information is such a great first step, not only to help us lay out the plan for how you're going to get there, but also to motivate you that there's something amazing on the other side of the work that might be required. And so I always have my clients, don't look at your numbers yet. Let's just think about what you want your life to look like, and then let's put some numbers to get you there.
There's nothing wrong with dreaming first.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't do career coaching, but I can tell you, so I work very closely with some career coaches that, specialize in helping lawyers. And the work that we do in tandem is so powerful because they can really hone in on the types of professions, the types of jobs that people should be looking for. But they do some of this vision work with their clients themselves. And when I'm working with a client who is also working with a career coach, they usually come to me with a pretty good idea of what they'd like, and they just need strategies to get them there. And that's so fun. But I do think that the vision work is really important. Like you said, everybody needs to get into that dreaming space because that's how we're actually going to get our work done.
What do you want lawyers to know about your approach when you work with them?
So my approach is a combination of, like I said, the vision and the softer part of money management, along with the strategies. I think there are a number of strategic folks out there who are more than happy to help you come up with a budget. That being said, I don't like being told what to do with my money. And I assume that my clients don't like to be told what to do with their money. But one of the things that I always tell my folks is the money that you spend on your values will never feel wasted. So we have to figure out what is most important to you, because that's going to be the cornerstone of everything that we build moving forward. It's going to inform where we allocate your money resources. It's going to inform where you end up in the next stage of your career. It's going to inform all of those steps along the way so that you actually enjoy the journey. That's my hope for my clients. I'm not here to put you through a very painful process where we cut spending to the bone. We have you driving Uber at night, and trying to pay off your $150,000 of student loans in a year. That's not what I do. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your family. I want to get to know your dreams and your aspirations. And then I want to get to know your money, and I want to help you figure out the strategies that are really going to work for your personality and for your lifestyle so that we can get all of this done without killing you along the way.
That's the challenge, right? It's step by step. And again, always stress this, no judgment.
No judgment. My lawyers have to deal with so much judgment and we judge ourselves. Oftentimes we are our toughest critics. And so, I love creating a space for my clients where they can really feel very supported and they can ask questions. They can, stress test potential ideas that they have of what they might want, what they're thinking about doing. And one of the things that I think is very special about the work that I do, yes, I'm very strategic. Yes, I will run all of your numbers, but I will also check in on the emotional factor of any particular strategy, right? I could tell you, oh, you should definitely invest in real estate in San Francisco right now. It's such a great market. Everything always goes up in value. What a wonderful investment for you to make. If you don't want to own a home, that's terrible advice, right? We want to think about what is the emotional aspect of any financial strategies you may be interested in deploying, and we want to take that into account when we're running the numbers. My goal often is to show you what the numbers say, check in on the emotional side, and then rerun the numbers with that emotional factor, put in so that you can really make an intentional decision about how you may want to move forward. And I think that's a part of the personal finance world that is often missing from these discussions. It can be very difficult to get that kind of guidance out of a book, right? Or even from a podcast. There's something about the one-on-one work that I do with my clients that I think is so special and really allows people to feel free to share those emotional burdens and aspirations with me so we can bake them right into their plans.
Speaking of clients, can you share another story about a client that you've helped?
Yes. So one of my clients was hell bent on leaving his firm. When he first reached out to me, he was really very overwhelmed with everything going on. He was raising a family. He felt like he didn't have a lot of time to spend with them. He didn't enjoy the work that he was doing. He was running his own firm, which is its own stress ball, right? You're not only a lawyer, you're also a business manager, right? And a CFO and a marketing officer and all of these things. And so when he first came to me, he was adamant that he wanted to get out. He wanted to, go be a law professor or, go do something else. And he had some resources available that he was thinking about allocating. And when we finally went through the entire process, kind of getting a better handle on how he was managing the money that he had, what options he had for the resources that he had set aside in terms of being able to transition, and going through what was really important to him. We were both surprised to see that at the end of the day, he actually decided to double down on his firm and really devote time and energy to growing it so that he could reach all of the financial goals that he had for him and his family. It was having that clarity that his firm was actually the best way to get him all of the things that he wanted, and then acknowledging that if that's the best way, then I'm going all in. Now he hired people and he relieved his stress. They started earning, more in the firm itself. They were able to take on more work. But because he was no longer fighting it, he was able to really embrace it and make it his own. And I thought that that was such a beautiful transition story for someone who had come to me hell-bent on getting out of the practice of law. He now is running a firm that is making even more money. He's working less, and he's enjoying a vacation home that he built in the meantime. When you took a look at what did he truly value, it was being able to create those memories with his family on his terms, and supercharging his own firm was actually a great strategy to get there. But it wasn't until we did that more deep emotional work of figuring out how would it feel, right, to have these different financial situations, to take these different financial paths. It was then that he saw so clearly what path was going to be for him, and he was able to embrace it. And I think a lot of people assume that everyone I work with ends up leaving their firm, right, or leaving the practice of law, but it's not true. The work that I do makes your decisions clear. It makes you capable of making very intentional decisions about how you want to move forward. And that may be staying where you are and actually going in harder, even if it's for a shorter period of time, right? There's a lot of different ways that we can get to end goals, and being able to see all those different scenarios and see which ones resonate for you and which ones line up with your true values. That is the goal of all of my work, because if you're doing things in line with your values, it's never going to feel like work, right? It's going to feel like you're serving a higher purpose, and that just feels so much better.
What is the best way for people to connect with you?
One of the best ways to connect with me is to come find me on LinkedIn. If you guys play around on there, I am prolific with posting, and also you can connect with my newsletter on there to get personal finance tips. So if you're not on LinkedIn, then make sure you check out my website at www.jessicamedinallc.com. There's resources of blog posts, and you can see how to work with me. But there's just a lot on there to help lawyers looking for help with the personal finances, and also to get some inspiration for your own transition.
Jessica, thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Jessica Medina is a lawyer turned accredited financial counselor, helping attorneys finance their dream lives. Please like and subscribe.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one.